Hello Summoners, I'm PJ Vice, welcome to my channel. On today's channel I'll be talking about my thoughts on the current matter of the game and the changes I'd like to see. Please be advised that most of what I say after this is pre-recorded, so you'll hear some background noise because I was at work at the time. But yeah, this is my video just explaining and breaking down the things I'd like to see in the game going forward. Obviously, Seatin leaving has caused a lot of people to express their opinions, so I'm just going to add to that. Because myself, I agree with Seatin completely. I am getting bored, I'm getting bored of the game. I've stepped down from a high prestige alliance, and the thing is with a map 6 or 7 alliance is you need to dedicate your life to the game. And if you're not there, you could be kicked or whatever. When you've got Alliance War and say Day 5 Alliance Quest and you're doing map 6 or map 7, it's hard to do. You can't do it. You can't have a social life and play the game. So that's one thing. The donations for being in a high tier alliance should be revised as well, because they are possibly a little too high, and there's another reason that puts people off getting into these higher tier alliances, because they need to grind to get battle chips, even though you can pay for battle chips, but gold battle chips and loyalty could be a problem for some people. So that's another thing I think needs to be looked at. Generally, I don't really do arenas too much, so for me personally that can be a problem. Like I say, I'll buy the battle chips, but the gold I think is the biggest issue I find. By not doing arena, I'm not getting the battle chips to convert into gold. So unless I'm getting some top content done, gold is something I usually struggle with. How I'm currently. So I've stepped down and now I'm in a more chill alliance. I'm in Christopher First Alliance, having a bit more fun now. And, I'm enjoying it a bit more, but there's still a lot of things I'd like to talk about. For example, here we go, champions, content in the game. Have you not noticed, a lot of the champions are a lot of content in the game. Say, for example, you got tier champions. Okay, you got your Ghost and you got Aegon and stuff like that, which is great. It's great if you get the champion, but it also means a lot of the content is champion dependent. Abyss of Legends, for example, without Aegon and Doom, you can do it. You can do the content, but it's going to cost you a lot more, and that's a problem. So you got that. You've got Labyrinth of Legends now. Even back, I've done 100% Labyrinth of Legends with Star-Lord, but unless you had a Star-Lord again, it was harder. I think now it's just a lot easier, but you've got Aegon, so why would you use anyone else? The same with Abyss, you need the four horse. Okay, and moving on, let's talk about champions themselves. Okay, you got every month you get two new champions coming into the game, which is, it keeps players interested, I suppose, but it keeps the money going because people want the new champions, which is great. But I don't think that needs to happen. I think what they need to start doing now is bring, say, one new champion a month and buff one of the old OG champions that no one wants. Kamala Khan, Guru. They need to be updated, because it's so annoying, especially for upcoming players that are just trying to build their roster. You've just got 10,000 5-star shards, great. You spin it and you get a Guru, or you get a Kamala Khan. And it's just upsetting. Like, a lot of people, you could save up for months to get 3 5-star crystals and get the same. You could get Guru, you could get King Guru, all these low king. I think that needs to change. I think every player, each month, they can revise one player a month and buff one new player a month. Look what they've done with Hulkbuster. Look what they've done with Colossus. Positive movements. I think that's where they need to go. That's what they need to do going forward. And bring in one new champion a month. Good, because, that keeps people interested in new champions as well. But concentrate on the old ones. So that's another point with champions and buffs. They need to not just do a vote on one champion. Okay, so we're going to go back now to the content being champion dependent, which is an issue because there are so many champions that you can't really use, but they're not useful. So if you roll it into the buffs, you can make more champions available rather than like a core set of players. Just open it up, expand it, make certain. You could do each node separately, different, which is good for a certain specific type of champion, but it opens more champions available. So you're not just using the core players, which I know a lot of people probably still will, because you've got Ghost, that's good for anything. You've got Warlock, who's great for so many things. You've got double immunities. But just give them a chance. So you can, instead of a Warlock, I use Colossus. Make it viable so they can use other champions rather than don't. Otherwise, it's just pointless. That's my opinion on that anyway. And look, the variant events are so good because of that. You've got variant 2 where it's all XL champions, and there's a large range of XL champions. I think it's variant 3 where tech champions, stuff like that variant, they've got it right. Stick with that. We'll bring more champions into the game. Let's do a small variant X where it's all small champions. Anything, you can do anything like that. It was a great idea. So personally, I think they should carry on the way the variant's going, which expands the amount of characters you can use in game. And even with variant 2, it says XL champions, but you didn't necessarily need to use champions that are XL. If you could spam heavy on Domino, if she's with Red Hulk, you could incinerate. So she's another great option, not just XL champions. The same with Captain America Infinity War. Spam heavy, brilliant. You could even do it with Stark Spidey. So great content. Like I said, variant is the way to go. Okay, so here's a thought. Right. See if you would think, would this be a good idea? This will get people interested, in my opinion, right? For each month, a new champion comes out. Kabam writes a list of champions that I'd like, who we can vote on. Okay, to say for the next month. So it could be like, I don't know, Weapon X is already there, but a list of champions. Say we ain't. Right, for example, we could go. For Black Widow, I know these champions are already in the game, but this is just an example. Spider-Man, Symbiote Supreme. Of those 4 champions, who would you like to see in the game in the next month's content? And then get people to vote. Whoever's got the most votes, that'll be the champion for the next month. It'd be a list of champions of who Kabam wants. So they're all going to come in at some point, but it makes it interesting. It gives people a choice. Rather than bringing in, I don't know, Mojo, who's ugly, who nobody wanted. But yeah, that's another thing that could happen, just to you interact with viewers as well that way. So that's another thing they could possibly do. Although it could be a pipe dream request because of the event and the planning and the artwork they do for each month, because they have an event and it's based on a specific thing. So maybe the more realistic thing will be to say, okay, the content in 3 months or however long it takes to create the content for that month. Okay, that brings me up to my next point of something else. I'm going to talk about Act 6. For a lot of people, Act 6 is annoying, and I think two reasons for that being is not only the path lens, but the champion gates. Get rid of them. We don't need champion gates. And another thing is remove the restrictions. I want to be able to use 4-star. I can't understand why you can't use 4 stars, because at the end of the day, putting a 4-star into Act 6, it's not going to improve you. It's not going to make it easier because it's a 4-star champion. But what it will do is it'll give someone like Katie Candy and KT1, for example, to have races like they do on the 3-star. They could go Act 6 content using 4 stars. This makes perfect sense. That'll be good for the player. and for YouTubers alike. So remove the champion gates and allow 4 stars in the game. And as well as that, I'd like to see players like MSD using a 4-star whoever against champion and Mordo and Warlock. You know, it's good to see the skilled players doing that sort of content, making us, you know, showing us how bad we are in comparison to like the guys like Laxi and MSD who are just truly amazing at the game. So it'll be good for them as well to show their skills. Sorry, I mean Mr. Sinister, not Warlock. Because Mr. Sinister is pain for a lot of people in that game. And to see someone beat him with a 4-star would be pretty special to see. Okay, now bringing you to my next point, which is Cavalier Crystals. Cavalier Crystals are great. I think they're great. It's such a good addition. And a good money, you know, it's good money for Kabam, but get rid of the 3 stars, make it a 4 to 6 star, because you've got Grandmaster, which is 3 to 5 star. Make Cavalier Crystals 4-star minimum to 6-star. That way, it'll get more people that's uncollected to go for Cavalier. It makes sense for Kabam. It makes sense for Kabam. People will spend more money if they can get a 4 to 6, a 4-star minimum, with a good chance of a 6. Like, you don't even have to change the percentages of the 5 and 6 star. Just get rid of the 3 star and increase the chances of 4 star, and done. That's all you need to do. Just get rid of 3 stars and Cav Crystals, because it's so frustrating. I had it the other day. I spent $50 and I got 4 3 stars. So come on, I mean, let's get rid of the 3 stars. They're done now. For in-game players, 3 stars, they're just trophy pieces and nothing else. In general, Act 2 was quite a ball ache, you know. 6.2 champion. But you know what? I didn't mind that champion in the end. Once you got it and you understood how to fight the champion, it was actually quite an enjoyable fight. After you do it the first time, yeah, it's gonna get you frustrated. But after you know how to do it, it's fine. However, again, that is champion dependent. That is Simply Supreme or wait. But Mr. Sinister is the worst fight in that. 6.2 again, without specific champions, you can't do it. You hit a brick wall. So there's things like that they kind of need to address and change. So that's that. That's 6.2 alone, and even 5. Was it Act 5.3? The path lengths in 5.3, I think, was just ridiculous. Same with Act 4. Some paths just so long and just take so much of your time that it just becomes, I don't know, repetitive and boring. So a few things there, I don't know how they can change it, but there has to be something. It's kind of the same with event quests as well. I know, in a new month, it's nice to do it. But if you leave it a certain amount of time, I do initial clear and I'm collecting straight away, but once that's done, that's also long, and it can take up a lot of time, and it just gets you to a point where you're like, can I really be bothered to do it? So I don't know what they could change, but another thing that is repetitive that people are like, again. So I don't know, what I did like mostly, I actually really like the variant content, except variant 1, of course. That was horrible, but the others have been good, and the rewards are not bad. So they could, instead of event quest, potentially bring out a new variant each month, or maybe not. I don't know. What would you say to that? Do you like variant? Would you like to see more variants in the game? Leave a comment below. And obviously, of course, they need to address the situation with bots in the game, but that's another story. Okay, so another thing I'd like to see is small, but a trophy champion nevertheless. Is to add Unstoppable Colossus to the loyalty store as a 6-star. Okay, he's not the best champion, but it's a small thing that Kabam could do. Add him in for so what's a 5-star? 800k. Add him in for between 1.5k loyalty and 2 million. 1.5 million and 2 million. I think that would be fair. And because I've got loads of loyalty, so it's just another thing that they can add to the game that will keep people interested. You know, could fight for the loyalty. So that's another thing. Add Unstoppable Colossus as a 6-star to the loyalty store. I think we're on to the main point now, which is Alliance Quest and Alliance War. I've been deliberating with this. The best sort of solution to it, because it's strenuous, it's hard, and it takes a lot of time. So I think the first thing they should stop doing is stop this locking champions. Because look at Alliance War, you got 8 champions locked up. Now, if you're again a progressing player, that's your 8. You got 8 good champions there that you could use for other content. You can't do it because they're locked in the Alliance War. Same with Alliance Quest. So that's one thing. Another main point would be the rotation between them, because it's nice to have in Alliance Quest those 3 days off. It'd be nice to have those. So do that in sync with Alliance War, so you're not needing to worry about Alliance War during the 3 days off in Alliance Quest. That's another point. And back to that point, why don't they make Alliance Quest a bit, a bit less frequent? So you could do a week Alliance Quest, a week off. A week Alliance Quest again, a week off. So instead of 3 days, change it to 7. But then people won't get burned out as quick. They'll have more free time. Yes, you'll still have an issue where Friday night, Saturday night, you could have an Alliance Quest. But I don't know, 8-day rest actually would work, because then it will change. So that's another thing that could happen. Another thing they could do is possibly get rid of one path from map 6 and map 7. So it's not absolutely essential that every player needs to be in. So if there was a situation where you had to be somewhere and you couldn't go and get into that path that day, it's okay. You won't get kicked out of the Alliance, which is another annoying thing within the game. And they should keep the 30-minute timer on a permanent basis. So even if you haven't got time, you've got 30 minutes, you've got a 30-minute timer. So, okay, if you're not going to remove a path, because I know it's probably going to hard to completely remove a path and change the layout. But if you made 30-minute timers rather than 1 hour, that would save a lot of time, a lot of people. You could get it done in half the time. And then, again, you wouldn't be as required as much. And if someone was waiting for you, it's okay, you got 30 minutes rather than an hour for your next move. So that's another thing. And that's the same for the Alliance War as well. Make them 30 minutes. So Alliance Quest, Alliance War, 30-minute timers, job done. You get it done quicker. It will get done. You can still stay in a competitive alliance, and more rest between. Bottom line. So instead of 3 days, maybe 6 or 8 or 5, even just a few more days. And then in that time, there's no Alliance Quest or Alliance War. You can relax, and it will give you time to do story mode or other content within the game, rather than it all jammed into one. There's just no free time to do. The 5 wars minimum is probably about right. Within a month, if you can get into 5 wars, that's minimum. And if you're running that in line with Alliance Quest, there's only 30-minute timers. You can also get them both done quicker without the need of being reliant on if you're unavailable or whatever like that, you know. And another thing I'd like to see changed with Alliance War is the do not die mentality, where obviously you can't die. If you die, you lose out. So they need to change that somehow, where it's not so much about if you die, your alliance is going to have a go at you and you could get kicked, because it causes arguments. So they need to change that and make it more family friendly. I mean, because the game. Adults don't play it. It's not just adults that play the game; it's kids as well. You got to make it fair and change the way the bonus system is, rather than do not die, which sucks. I mean, yes, okay. So rather than do not die more than twice to that champion. So that gives you a chance to sort of, okay, you're dead. You've tried twice. You've died. Don't attack, right? Because that way you don't get penalised. The alliance doesn't have a go at you. You've done your part, and someone else can step in and take over. Assuming it's the sub boss or boss that you've died to. But even if it's not, you've still got that second chance of life, and you can use the boosts to try and get through the fight the second time if you die to a specific champion before you get to the sub boss, because it happens, especially on path 7, I believe, where you don't know who you're attacking, so you get surprised, and that could kill you, and it's not necessarily your fault. You could go in with, I don't know, somebody who's not good against Korg, for example, and you know how much of a pain he can be, or a Nihilus. So, yes, we need to give people a second chance, at least, to get through the champion, even if they die once. 2 chances. Because you can get caught out, and I have a path 7 before. I took in Blade, and it turned out that the person I was fighting was Cable, and of course, if you make Cable bleed, you get degenerated. And what happens when you parry against him? You bleed him. Things like that. Okay, the next thing I would say is with Incursions. That's a great idea, so much better than Dungeons. But I don't know, I feel like there's something missing. I mean, it's good to do, but it still kind of feels like a chore. Once you've got the initial, so every month, you've got the initial rewards, and then all you're getting is the artifacts. I think it would be a bit better if they increase the amount of shards you can get. Instead of once a month, so every 2 weeks. Okay, it gives us a quicker time, but at the same time, 5 stars are coming a bit, they're getting easier and easier to get now. And I think players are at that level now that they should be getting 5 stars as quickly as they can get 4 stars. So that's another thing I'd like to see, to increase the rewards and make them refreshing quicker. And like Seatin said, something like a leaderboard would be good. It'd keep the end game players interested and competitive, because there's no PvP in this game, so that could potentially be the best form of PvP that we can get going forward. And going back to Incursions, I do think Incursions have a lot of potential, not just in the rewards, but Incursions, you're 2 players, there's 2 of you going head to head. You could increase that. You could make a 3-player Incursions that will get 3 people involved, which would, I'm sure that's possible. You got Alliance Quest, which is 10. And I don't know, you could do it I don't know if that would be too hard, but I don't know. What do you think to that, guys? A 3-player Incursion as well as a 2-player, which is completely separate from the 2-player Incursions. I don't know. That's probably a crazy thought, but what do you think to that, guys? 3-player Incursions as well. Okay, so even Arena. We need a 5-star basic Arena, I think. So that's another thing with Arena. They could upgrade that and make a 5-star basic. Because I'll be honest with you, a featured 5-star is too much of a grind for me. But a basic featured, I would be tempted to go for. They need something for featured though, where only 150 get the champion. The grind is really, really tough. But I suppose 150, I guess, is reasonable. They could increase it, or if not, make the lower tier rewards just slightly better, so it's not so bad. Not so bad falling 151st or below if you're going for that specific champion. And make arena crystals more available as well. But I'm not talking about the normal ones, I'm talking about the greater arena crystals, because as I have, and as you'll probably all have, I have a lot of overflow in my crystal stash with arenas, and I'll get back to that later on. Another point that's already been addressed by Kabam in a video with Dog Lessons about a month or two ago, and that is Masteries. The ability to switch quickly between a mastery. So if you want suicides on or not, I don't run with suicides, but I realise I have a Mega Red and Corvus. Suicides would actually be beneficial for me, but because of the specials I like to use, I don't like using them because I don't like losing that damage. So you need a quick flick switch, two or three, like a quick switch between 2 or 3 setups. So you can just go, right, I want to change this for, I don't know, 50 units. I want to go to suicides, or I want to turn them off. And there's some fights where also dexterity is an issue, and it'll be better if that was switched off as well. So maybe a third setup with that stuff like that that's going to give degeneration or anything like that. So yeah, that's my opinion on Masteries. There you go. And who here misses the gifting badge? I know I do, and I can understand why they removed it because of cheaters or whatever. But why? Why make everyone suffer? You know, why do the few suffer? Why do the many suffer because of the few? I'd like to see the gifting badge back, or at least in periodically, not just at Christmas. You know, gifting bags for life, not just for Christmas. But I'd like to see it every couple of months. It just comes on for 2 weeks. Even, I don't know, like periodically. July. February during, I don't know, Valentine's Day. Or March during Easter, or July during July 4th. As well as Christmas. You know, Thanksgiving as well, you know. I'm thankful for whatever. I want to be able to gift Alliance members. And things like that. Even if it's a 7-day, just make it more frequent, and let us have that gifting badge back. And just put it at a minimum. Like you have to be a minimum level 40 for it to work, so it stops people botting new accounts just to abuse the gifting badge. That's just a simple thing. It's a simple thing to do. Just limit it to level 40 accounts. And one other thing I'd like to see added, but I'm not sure if it may or not have been addressed yet, is you want to test your champions out against certain fights, but you have duels, which is great. You got duels, but you need something more than just duels, because you're fighting kind of easy fights. Let's be honest. You need something like Realm of Champions. If you want to test a fight, what do most people test them on? Realm of Champions, Winter Soldier, right? So there needs to be something where you can find a champion as buffed up as Winter Soldier, SP3 or no SP3, that you could practice against, rather than just going through the Realm of Champions doing the same fights again. But you might have a problem against the thing. You might not know how to fight him properly, but somewhere where you can get practice in. Okay, you got Abyss of Legends, so I guess things maybe not the best option, but you got an ILS Korg, they're both problem fights. Maybe you struggle against Nick Fury. Wouldn't it be good if you could find a buffed up 80k Nick Fury that you could practice against? So that's another thing they could add to the game that will keep people interested and keep people's skill levels up. And I meant not Realm of Champions, there's a new game coming out. Realm of Legends. But yeah, that's what I believe in. I believe something like that would be a great benefit to the players and good for the game. The general consensus of the game is pay to play. Paying players with the sigil and the units costing £5 a month and £10 for the sigil. Spending players generally do get an advantage, and I believe they kind of need to do a little bit more for the free-to-play players, just to keep them interested, just so the fan base know it's not just Casino of Champions. It is a game that everyone can play, and not just sort of directed towards spenders. I'm probably asking for a lot, but these are just things I'd like to see that will keep you interested, and I'm sure a lot of these opinions you guys would agree with as well. Another thing I'll go to is when we first started the game. This won't ever happen now because they've changed it. I'm not going to change it back. Is when you could have revives and potions and health. There wasn't a limit to how many you could hold. Now there's 25. You can only have 25 health potions and 15 revives. That wasn't the case before. You could have as many as you want. I used to stockpile them, use them whenever I wanted. I'm sure they stopped that Kabam for many reasons, but I'd like to see that back. I'd like to see us hold as many revives as possible, because at the end of the day, we still have to earn them. We still have to do content to get them, or we have to buy them through packages. So at the end of the day, we're still spending, but it just keeps us. I want to be able to stockpile as many revives as possible, so I can do 6.3. So that's my opinion on that, but I can't see anything changing there because I get it, Kabam would lose money. Which takes me back to the arena question. Why can you only store 7? Makes no sense. And that's why there's so many crystals in your storage. Need to increase that. Because if you put it like this, Aegon went for 75 million. What is 7 greater crystals going to do to help? Yeah, you can open them as you go along, but honestly, you need to be able to store more than that. You should increase that by to at least 20 per skill level. So cosmic and everything like that, all need to be 20 for all classes, for all star levels. You know, you've got to look like this. Half the country's locked down at the moment, half the world even, and there's no sports, there's not much to do. So you'd think that Kabam right now would sort of capitalise on that and bring out enough content, because people were, there's a lot of players that just play Marvel Contest of Champions, and because they're locked down and locked wherever, they can't do anything. They've done all the content, so there's nothing else to do. That's why I think right now Kabam should be bringing out some special events. 1, 2. I know that they're doing a few, but it's not enough. They need to, now would be a good time to bring out a variant, I think. So that's my opinion anyway. I don't know what you feel about that, but I would like to see some more content. And the thing is, you need to keep things interested, because if you think of it, you've got Marvel Realm of Champions that's coming out. So if Marvel Contest of Champions is no longer interesting to players, they're going to quit the contest to go into the Realm of Champions. But what Kabam should be looking at doing, they're both Kabam games, is to keep them interested in both. So you can play, so they'll be playing Marvel Contest of Champions and Marvel Realm of Champions. Because it's natural, there's competition out there as well. You've got games like 7 Deadly Sins, which is like the top downloaded game at the moment. So they need to stay competitive, and to do that, in my opinion, like I've said, these are just some of the things I think they need to address and hopefully change or do something about. Yeah, guys, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Is there anything you agree with or disagree with of what I've said, or anything you'd like to add? Leave a comment below and we can discuss. Anyway, I'm PJ Vice. Thank you for listening in. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace out.